Alrighty, folks, it's time to challenge ourselves on the guitar backup world. What's normally a solo fiddle piece, atmospheric and lovely. We're going to try to stay in that vein. Old Christmas Morning. French Carpenter played it back in the day, and Erynn's going to play it for us now in the key of A. Has some bluesy notes where you can do a G chord sometimes or not. So we have choices to make and got some crooked spots, so more fun to be had.
Absolutely, and it is Old Christmas Morning, January 6th, and older generation fiddlers would talk about that old Christmas day. And I kind of think of this as two parts with a little bridge in the middle. And some Lindy McCumbers, an old ballad singer, used to talk about the dwells that older fiddlers would do, hanging on certain notes. And it does that, so the guitar player kind of has to hang tight.
You got to hang on, so we'll give it a go right now. Old Christmas Morning. Beautiful.
You did it, Carl. You did it. It sounded beautiful.
We came through almost in the same
Traditionally a solo
spot.
tune, but possible.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you so much.
And this tune is a request, so we're happy to fulfill it.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Yeah, that's a beauty. Yeah, you can really takes you back. It does sound old. I can really feel. We went back in time a little bit there, I think, which is nothing wrong with that. We need to do that more often. So what we'll do is the first part's pretty straightforward, and you have choices there of, like I say, the bluesy melody. So that G note could stay in A, which would be a bluesy A sound, or a lot of times it's nice to go to that flat 7 chord, the G chord, which I think, maybe 8 out of 10 guitar players would probably choose to put that in there. So what we'll do is do the first part, starting with the G maybe, and on the repeat of the same thing comes back around, we'll stay in A. That's what I was trying to do just then. So you have that G chord, A chord, G again, and you have an E chord back to A. And then on the repeat here, maybe stay in A, da, 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 to hear the difference. G, E, and A. So that's kind of the easy bit, and a beautiful part. So a couple of things to think about. The G to E is kind of a great place to maybe walk. You could also walk to a G chord, If I walk to E here, let's see, right here. You can do you don't want to get walking crazy here, especially since it's such a pretty melody. But just keep the walk option. I think my favorite place to walk would be maybe that G to E every now and then. So let's see. First time's a G. And the second time around, here's the repeat. Stay in A maybe. Do, 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 do. You could walk to G. So a different walk there might be nice. That's the first part. Let's do that one more time there. So 1, 2, start in G, a little slower, A, G, without a walk maybe first just to hear it, A, repeat, stay in A this time, do, 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 maybe walk to G, E. Now the second part of the transition is kind of a D to an A. And it goes into a 6-beat kind of atmospheric spot. So Erynn does a bow rock. It goes D to A, bow rock. See, there's a little bow thing you can hear, and that bow rock takes you into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you have D to A, bow rock, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you have a 3-beat kind of weird thing, G chord, and kind of I do a pick strum and just the 5th string to get to the A phrase, and then it gets pretty more regular, A, D, and E kind of stuff. So here's that D to A, bow rock, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pick strum, G, 5th string, right to the A. So that's the weirdest little thing that sort of works, and you might come up with something better, just a ringing chord or no chord, or try your options there and see what you come up with. That's what I've come up with so far, just a pick strum and G and the 5th string, the B note to an A. So I'm going to keep going this time and let you hear the whole last 3 lines of the. So D, 2, a little slower, bow rock, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, G, A. Then you're in just A stuff. A to D, splitting the measure. E and A, splitting the measure. Then you have A, and I'm doing a little walk. E, again A to D, E, A, and then you have split the measure here. A to E, and again A. I'm doing a thumb hook on D this time. E, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think you have a 6-beat measure. E, A. Yeah. So you have that, and then you're back to the start. Okay. So let me do the whole thing one time, and then I want to get into a little bit of chord talk, and with some little triad stuff on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, which would be fun to work on. So 1, 2, G chord. Stay in A this time. Same stuff with the A, D, 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 do, G, E, A. Here's that D to A. Bow rock. And the G right to A after that little weird bit. 3rd line, B, E, A. I'm walking down to that E this time. And A to D again. E, A, and split the measure to E this time. Do the thumb hook D. First part. Stay in A maybe this time just for fun. Do, 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 do. D to A. Bow rock, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pick strum A. If you start earlier. Starting over. Maybe walk that E this time. Repeat, stay in A maybe this time. Pick strum A phrase jumps in there, sneaks in there. Turn around the horn, what do you want to call it? All right, that's pretty tricky. So let's get into some stuff there. So pretty fun, and take it slow. I was going a little quick there. And the fiddler may play that pretty slow. I mean, a tune like that is kind of atmospheric. They may play it very slow, So, and the slower they play it, the maybe harder it is to really do the backup, because it's going to be very nice with just the fiddle, of course, as we've already said. So let's just look at a couple of things here. One thing I want you to think about is just playing your A chord, focusing on the 4, 3, and 2 strings, and you got a nice A drone bass, like a pedal tone. Let's look at our 3 A chords. If you do these notes, there's the 5, the 1, and the 3 of the chord. That's an E, A, and C sharp in this case. So 5 in the bass, root in the middle. So we'll call that a root middle. And if I went up, 5 would go up top of the scale to the A, and I'd have 4 frets to there and 3 frets. So that's pretty cool. I got 5 frets, 4 frets and 3 frets to the next inversion. That's pretty cool. And that's like an F shape without barring. I'm just getting it. All right. So straight 2 2 2, 7 6 5, and the next one. If I would do those things, just hear those notes. You got a D shape. If you played your D chord here on the regular D and lost a high string and pivoted, you're on the next string set, and you're putting an octave in there, really. So let's just do those A's again. So just with a nice, just you're waking up, you've had a cup of tea or coffee. There's your A chord. You say, oh, there's my root middle shape. I love that. And maybe now my F sort of shape root bottom. And hear the voicings and the root top, thin string. So those 3 shapes, the big picture there is you can use those for your 1 4 5 progression in those 3 neck niches. Hard to say, but it's better than a neck itches. So A, 1 chord there, and I'm going to keep this location and do my root top. There's my D chord, and then my E chord is going to be with an open string. It's still that same shape. Say I was playing F, scooted it back. So, and we're using those high, the first string and the 5th string as drones. So how pretty that'd be. You've heard that in a lot of old records. So we're going to do the same thing up here on the 5th fret, the F shape, so to speak, the root bottom. You get the bar 7 7 7, and then you get to go back to 6 4 5 for E. But we got to get the right string. Shows you what the wrong string sounded like. Not as good. And back to A, and then you take it up to the 10 on the F sort of shape, and you're back to that, right? And bar 9. Let me just let you hear what that sounds like. The 1 4 5 progression with the kind of drony triads. And the F-shaped root bottom, root middle, root top, and root bottom, root top, root bottom, root middle, and top. I love that song. Beautiful. Root top. Up on the root top. Anyway, so there's so what you could do, just think about one last thing. Think about that G chord. If you were doing those kind of shapes for your old Christmas morning, you got your A there. You could take it down. You could kind of have a drony A. You know, as you got. So you could go. Right. So that kind of. Idea, kind of cool. So I'm using that, taking my A back to a G, a whole step back, same shape, and take it up. So it's a different sound, but very beautiful. If they're playing it slow, that might be the way to go. You could, of course, finger pick instead of strum. But let's go back and do the whole tune one more time, just the regular chord way. And remember, you can walk from G to E is a good walk. You can walk up to the G. Or you can not walk at all, sometimes even a long walk, where I was going from the A, I went, you could take up a whole measure, since you have an A, a whole measure before the E in there later on. At 3rd line, you could do a long walk. So short walk, long walk, anything in between, no walks at all. So keep in mind, you got a lot of things, but sometimes starting out as simple as you can is the best way. So anyway, I'm doing the first part with the G on the repeat, staying in A. And I'll do it just kind of without walks, I think, right now. And then we got that tricky, the bow rock is our indicator bow rock, and rock is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to that G with the pick strum, and just that B, and you're in the A phrase. That's the trickiest part of the whole song. I'm going to hold the guitar like this time just for fun. Makes me think of Tom T. Hall or somebody. So here we go. 1, 2, G chord. A. Repeat, stay in A this time. Here's the next part. D and A, bow rock, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A phrase, 3rd line of the tab here. Round the horn, maybe a walk. A to D again, round the horn. Split that measure, E. We're going to go back to the first part. mighty swing, maybe a long walk. Split the measure. So pretty. So old Christmas morning. And it'd be pretty on a mandolin, another thing. You know, if you get the melody in your head, that's the trick, I think. It's a lot easier if you get those little quirky spots in your head and the spots where you know they might dwell a little longer, as Erynn put it, the dwells. Be ready for the dwells and to wait as long as you need to for when the next little bit comes in. So from French Carpenter, and check out French Carpenter. There's a couple of audios on YouTube. One from 1954 where he has a backup, which is a little straight. It kind of straightens it out a little too much, which you don't want to do that. So our goal is to do less of that. And then there's a solo fiddle of him playing. So check out the solo fiddle. Check out the 1954 one too. And mainly enjoy your guitars this new year. I hope you're having a wonderful new year so far. And it will be filled with guitar picking. Take care.